It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott has escaped to Puerto Rico, so Daniel Rubino from Windows Central's here, along with Mary Jo Foley, to talk about the latest news, Windows 10 Mobile. We've got a lot more on that. A new version of Windows 10 Desktop coming next week. And, of course, an API and SDK for Xbox. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 401, recorded Wednesday, February 18th, 2015. Better call all. Windows Weekly is brought to you by IT Pro TV. A good IT Pro is always learning, and IT Pro TV is the resource to keep your IT skills and knowledge up to date. IT Pro TV offers engaging courses streamed to your Roku, computer, or mobile device. For a free 7-day trial and 30% off the lifetime of your account, go to itpro.tv/WW and use the code WW30. And by HipChat. Collaborate, save time, and be more productive with your teams. HipChat is IM, video chat, plus file, code, and screen sharing all in one place. Invite your team members and get a free 30-day trial of the full version of HipChat at hipchat.com/Windows Weekly. And by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post to 50-plus job sites, including social networks, all with a single click. Screen, rate, and hire the right candidates fast. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/Windows. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Redmond, from Microsoft. Here's some news. Paul Thurrott has escaped. Mary Jo Foley is here from New York, allaboutmicrosoft.com. Hi, Mary Jo.
Hi, Leo.
Good to see you. And you've replaced Paul with Daniel Rubino of WinCentral.com. Hi, Daniel. Good to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
But the irony is Daniel is in the same area. You're also in Boston area, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, about 20 minutes from Paul, where he would be normally.
But you were in Aruba last week?
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, yeah.
You look a little tan still, I have to say.
Yeah, I came back pretty dark, so it was a good 5 days off.
Snow burn.
No.
Holy cow.
That would call me going outside.
So, Mary Jo, where did Paul go?
He went to Puerto Rico with his family.
Nice.
For vacation. I know.
What fun. I don't think there's much snow down there.
No. In fact, he sent me a note and he said, it's actually too hot here.
Paul is such an Eeyore. Well, now it's too hot. I was too cold. Now I'm too hot. This is episode 401, representing the area code of my hometown, Providence, Rhode Island. So actually, we should do that from now on. We'll name the area code instead of the show number. We were just talking off the air about this $59 Winbook 7-inch I got. Microsoft, you got to give a lot of credit to Microsoft for the $0 Windows on these small screens, but I presume they're also giving away a year of Office, right? That's part of the deal. Yeah.
Yep.
This is with Bing.
Yep.
But so I bought this for $59 plus shipping from Micro
Where'd you
Center.
get it?
Micro Center. I got it on Amazon from Micro Center. It was $70, including shipping. So, but still a good deal. Yeah. And you get a year of Office, which means the Office. It's actually they're paying me $2.
They are. Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Not bad.
I was a little disappointed.
Plus unlimited storage, right? Don't you get unlimited storage with that?
Oh. They don't mention that because Microsoft hasn't really, I don't know, have they turned that on? They say I'm getting, well, actually, they give you 10 gigs on Pogo Plug. But yeah, I'm getting unlimited on OneDrive just because I'm an Office subscriber. I don't know if that counts. This would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would think.
It says Office, let me just look at the certificate here. Office 365 Personal. So that includes 1 year subscription for one user. This doesn't give you the 5-user deal.
Yeah.
Latest apps, premium services. It doesn't say anything about unlimited OneDrive, but we know now that I would be getting that, right?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
It's kind of remarkable.
It is. After all the years of paying so much for Windows and Office and PCs, it's like, hey, here's a PC, right?
And this isn't even a junky. I mean,
No.
it's much better than I would expect for $59. It's got.
And you have the HP Stream, which is also doing pretty well, and that's I think $79 right now at the Microsoft Store, and that too comes with Office and a $25 gift card to the store. So once again, they're actually paying you to
And get the
take
Stream because unlike the WinBook, the Stream has a Windows button. And I mean,
I like that.
I think that's a big difference. The WinBook, you have to press a physical button on the side. You get used to that. But Windows 8 relies so much on that Windows button that I think it's worth $20 for a Windows button. It's still such a good deal. The camera is pretty crappy on the WinBook. It's 2 megapixels front and back, but that's good enough for Skype, which is the only thing I would consider using a camera on something like this for.
Yeah.
It's a similar screen, I'd say. It's a pretty similar computer to this is the HP Stream. This is the WinBook. The aspect ratio is a little different. I don't know. I mean,
the WinBook's got a more the
WinBook has a USB. Real USB port too, so you can you could charge the WinBook with a micro USB and then use a mouse and keyboard. It's also got, and I don't see this on the stream, it's also got a mini HDMI plug. It's also got an SD card, a micro SD card slot. I don't know if that's what this is on here. There's a slot on the top. That might be a speaker. I feel like this is, and the fact that it charges with micro USB makes the WinBook very valuable in my opinion. Here I am in the chat room. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Very nice.
Wow. All right. Didn't mean to derail the show, but I just had to talk about this. I mean, this is phenomenal. All right. Subject number 1. What kind of is this subject? Windows 10 Mobile came out on phones. Here's Alex Gumpel, again, our Windows guru here. He's put Windows 10 on this 635. What is different now in the mobile?
Not a lot yet.
So, so you have the start screen, and it's like the default one, and it looks pretty normal. But if you go into the settings, you can now set the backgrounds.
Okay.
And it's a different type of background now. It gives you transparent tiles. But no, we had that in Windows Phone 8.1, didn't we? Yeah, but it's done differently. So before in 8.1, it would change the image it would put the image on the tiles, basically. Now it's actually behind the tiles.
Okay.
But Joe Belfiore said they're actually going to do both options. So the other one will be.
I think that's nice. They're going to give people a choice of which way you prefer it.
You know what irks me just the slightest bit, just a little bit? I can't put it on my 1520.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you put it on your icon, Mary Jo?
No.
What's
not
wrong?
Yet.
These are the high-end Windows phones.
I know. And, it's kind of sad that this inability to put the first preview on many of the phones really marred the whole launch of the preview. Microsoft said they didn't tell us which phones it was going to be on because the list was changing right up until the minute they hit the button and said, okay, it's available. So it ended up only being available on kind of the mid and lower range phones. And that caught a lot of people off guard. So it's available right now for the Lumia 630, 635, 636, 638, 730, 830. That's it right now.
But there's a good reason for that, right? I mean, it's not Microsoft's fault.
No, they said they're going to be adding a feature called partition stitching that's going to adjust the OS partitions to make room for the install process so they can update the OS in place. And they said these phones have enough space, but the ones that we have, they wanted to make sure it was going to be a good experience. And so they're going to be adding those at some point in the future.
I see.
But everybody was badly surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pointed out that they were going to do a subset of phones, but you're right, they didn't give the list. And so we had to sort of guess which ones. Now, Joe Belfiore took to Twitter shortly after this happens and sort of did a feedback thing with the audience, basically saying the conundrum was this: they could either get it out early, which was about 2 weeks after it was announced, and have it on a subset of devices, or they could have taken longer and make sure it goes out to everyone. And so it was that trade-off that they had to decide upon. And it's not necessarily one's better than the other, but that was the choice. And so they decided to go early, but subset of devices. They're kind of screwed, I think, if they go either way. Because if they took another 4 weeks, then people would have complained about that. I mean, they were already pretty crazy on Twitter, bugging everybody about this update. So
I know.
Does Microsoft pay attention to what people say on Twitter? Come on, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
they
because
do. They do now.
Gabriel All is sort of the face of the Windows Insider program, and he's very good actually with responding to people and answering questions. Having said that, I have to say though, the Windows 10 preview for phones, I don't think people are missing much right now.
It looks pretty much the same. The background is it, right? I mean, what else is there?
Oh, if you go into settings is completely overhauled. It's different. There's a lot of menu choices. The Photos app
different.
is new.
Yeah.
Photos. If you go into Photos, you'll see a very different app.
Okay.
So that's a big one.
Well, let's do it. Let's take a picture. Here's Photos. I don't know if we have any. We don't have any photos on here, so that kind of takes the fun out of it. I'll have to take some
the
pictures.
hamburger menu and everything.
Yeah, hamburger. Yeah, that's all I could show you. I could show you the hamburger. Folders view coming soon. Album view coming soon. Settings coming soon. I don't know. I'll take some pictures and we'll have some on here. This is not logged in. I think Alex didn't want to log it into his account. Is the camera different?
Technically, no, but if for non-Lumia devices, when that does go out to them, it will be, because they're bringing basically what's known as Lumia camera to all Windows phones.
Yeah, I noticed I have a Nokia camera button on here, but I want to use the Windows camera, right? Windows Phone camera. There it is. So they'll be using the Lumia camera.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. What else is new in there? I guess there's some new speech-to-text capabilities, right?
Which is actually really good. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can usually, before you can only do speech in certain aspects of the operating system, but now wherever there's a text entry, there's an option with a microphone, so you can do speech to text, and it's very fast. The engine, it's almost, it's eerie how fast it will actually transcribe what you're saying. So that's really useful. So you can do it in emails now, texting, instant messaging, all that kind of stuff.
And you can even say the punctuation now, right? Which I don't think you could before, could you?
That's nice.
Right. No, you couldn't. Yeah, and that was pretty frustrating. It's still not 100% in my opinion, but you can technically go.
I do that all the time on other platforms where I'll say new paragraph, comma, exclamation mark, that kind of thing. That's useful.
Yeah. Notifications are also being changed. If you swipe down from the screen, there's the layout is a little bit different. Some of the fonts and the dividers. You can also dismiss individual notifications now. So say you have like 10 new emails. Before, you could only clear all the emails from the notification or none. Now you can do individual emails, swipe them one away, or if you do by the category, you can swipe away the entire category.
By the way, thanks to see, Twitter is useful. You're right. I just got a tweet from Elizabeth Morrissey, Flower Bubble. She pointed me to Paul's article on how for $10 I can convert the Office 365 Personal on this $59 tablet to 365 Home.
Oh, nice.
So that gives me the multiple installs and all that stuff. I already have Home. I was actually a little disappointed because what it said is, oh, you can't use this license. You've got a license. Come back next year. So I'm saving the code. Maybe someday I'll be able to use it. Are they going to, as somebody in the chat room is asking, Helicat M, will they allow voice recognition in Word?
Yeah.
That's not changed, right?
We don't 100% know, but I mean, the operating system, it's just wherever the keyboard pops up, that little microphone pops up. So, I
use
can't
that
see
all
why
the
it wouldn't
time.
be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love dictating.
The notifications, too, are also going to be interactive now, or actionable, a lot of people like to call. So if you get a text message,
you can respond to it in the notification.
In line.
Nice.
Right.
That's nice. Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the pointer in the soft keyboard.
Oh, right. Yeah, that thing's a little.
The nubbin, as people call it.
Okay. Nubbin. All right. I'm going to try to find a nubbin here.
Yeah. Richard B. just reminded me of that. He's like, don't forget about that.
Don't forget the nubbin.
It's actually kind of interesting. I'm not sure how much I'll use it, but I think I'm going to use that quite a bit.
So this thing? Is that it? Oh, where's the nubbin?
Oh, I don't know if it's on the.
No,
I don't
phone.
think it's on the
It's
tablet.
gonna be
It's
on the
only on
phone.
phone. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, so like open the messaging app and like try to create a message and you'll see it.
All right. Gonna create a new message, and
So-
oh yeah, it's a little blue
See that
dot
thing?
in between the arrow, Z, semicolon, and 1, 2, 3. And what does that do? It allows me. It's like a pointer.
Yep.
Look at that.
So you know how hard it is right now to get the cursor right in the exact spot you want.
That's actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to type a line, and then I can easily go character by character back and forth. That's very, very nice.
And especially if you have multiple paragraphs, you can bounce around a lot easier.
Will they do that on Windows 8, 9, 10? Okay, this is Windows 10 mobile. What is the other thing? Windows 10 desktop?
Windows 10 desktop.
Will they do that in Windows 10 desktop?
It's a good question. I don't know, Mary Jo. Do you have any?
It would be
I don't
on a
know.
desktop. You don't need it, but on a tablet, it would actually be very handy.
Well, I want
would
the
be great.
swipe. I want swipe to come to.
Oh
tablets.
yeah, that's where you swipe out, and you can do that on the phone. This is the and you spell not by tapping but by drawing on the text on the keyboard. I love that feature. That's not available on Windows 10 desktop either.
No, not yet. But I'd love to see it like on 7-inch tablets. It'd be really useful.
Well, and see, I think really this was the whole problem with Windows 8.1 is that you got these two form factor for hardware and a single operating system. Windows 10 seems to kind of make that better.
Yep.
Do you think they'll be less likely to do stuff that's specifically for tablets in it, though?
Yeah. Well, this mobile 10 version that came out on the phones, that also is going to run on small tablets. That exact operating system.
So this 7-inch tablet would next time have Windows 10 mobile.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now you can't install it on those,
That's a
but
good way to do
you're going to be able to.
Yeah. By the way, if I just felt like, because I'm a bold, I like to live dangerously. If I decided I wanted to, because look, I mean this is the 7-inch HP Stream, and Alex shoehorned Windows 10 into it, finding drivers, doing all sorts of tricks. I could do that on my Lumia, right? My 1520. Should I just I'll just put it right on there. Let me just try it right now.
No, Leo, don't brick that again.
This is a new one. This is the second one. No, don't brick it.
No. Nope.
So it can be done, but the trick is that you're flashing or installing another image, basically a Lumia 630's OS image onto the 1520.
No.
And it works if you do it right, but people have been bricking their phones, and we don't know the long-term repercussions if there are any, and there could be. And when I tell people, at least right now, it's not worth it. Even I haven't done this because I have it on a few devices, the Windows 10 on phone, and it's just it's nice, but I would not put it on my daily driver, my main phone, not yet. And you can go buy a 635, at least in the U.S., for $50. And from AT&T or whatever, I just go install this. And
I think that's what Alex did. I think this is like a spare phone.
I mean, if you can spare $50, you'll be so much better. You can do whatever you want to that phone, and it's just not worth it putting on the 1520 right now. Unless you have like 3 of them. Then go ahead.
I only have 2.
I've been watching Gabe All's Twitter stream, and he's answering so many people who brick their phones, and
that's not nice.
He's telling them, "Don't do it."
How do you spell Gabe All?
At Gabeaul.
AUL. All right.
Gabriel All.
We should all follow.
He's the head of Windows Insider Program.
Oh, good. All right. I'm going to follow him.
Anybody on this who listens to this podcast should be following him.
Definitely.
Because he's tweeting like crazy. 2 more hot fixes out. 2 new hot fix going. Time for Gabe All to tweet. Good morning, everyone. Oh, so today, no, this was yesterday. He was doing like a Twitter storm, sharing about new phones, supported when I can, share news about new builds when I can. So he's answering questions on Twitter.
Yeah. He's just telling everybody was saying, when is it going to be on this phone? When is it going to be on that phone? And he's just telling them, you know what?
Better call all.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
So
Better
perfect.
call all.
It's kind of a cheesy Photoshop, but what the heck, We'll take it. Now I know how to spell his name anyway. Yeah. So good. So I've just followed him. Yeah. Excellent. Let's see what else here. Rooms. There's some people in the chat room a little upset about this. What is room? First of all, what is Rooms?
There were basically they're virtual rooms you can set up with other Windows Phone users, although technically there was some interoperability there with other operating systems, but the true experience was on Windows Phone. So say you had a family, you can create a family room, and you would invite them to it, and you could share things like a calendar, you can share photos.
So it's not just group chat, it's
and group chat, right,
wow.
and all that stuff. Yeah, conceptually, it was a brilliant thing, and they really did promote it when it first came out. But it never really caught on. And I think part of the problem was there's just not many Windows Phone users. We're sort of like ships in the night, right? So you'd have to...
Your whole family would have to be using Windows Phone. And how likely is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, especially...
I didn't even know about Rooms. Where would I find
know. It's on
that?
Windows Phone 8.1, too. I mean, it's on... It's just something I never used. I know, but man, I heard from everybody
who uses it.
Everybody who used it yesterday, I heard from on Twitter.
Yeah, well, if you were using it, that would really be a lot of functionality lost. Where would I find Rooms in Windows Phone 8.1? Is there a Rooms?
One way you can find it is through the People Hub, right?
Okay. I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, and you can add people from your contact list.
Yes, I've done that. I have a Best Friends button. Is that it? No? What's Best Friends then? Do you know about that?
There's
His Best Friends.
What's the other feature they have? Groups. Is there a thing also called groups?
Groups are.
Yeah,
you can
group, and then what's new among my best friends, and
that's a little different. Yeah,
that's something else.
That's not a room. That's just basically a way to like
keep track
people
of. It's like a specialized people hub, but in people, I could create. I'm trying not to show anything too. Oh, there it is. Rooms, family room. Yep. Invite someone to your room. Gee, if I only knew somebody with Windows Phone.
Right.
Daniel, would you be in my family? Mary Jo, could you be in my family? We could have a We could have a faux family room. Okay. Yeah. You could privately share calendar, photos, group chat, and notes all right here. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. It's a nice idea, but I don't know how many. Number one, I don't know how many people used it, and I tried to ask if the reason they're discontinuing it is because no one's using it. Nobody really wanted to go on the record saying that.
Right.
But I bet it wasn't well used. And the other part that we don't know is what's going to replace it. Microsoft's hinting there's something coming with Windows 10 that's going to replace it. I would guess maybe Skype or GroupMe, or those two things in combination, maybe.
GroupMe is a Microsoft product?
Skype bought GroupMe, and then Microsoft bought Skype, so now they own it too.
Yeah, because people in the chat room are saying you could use GroupMe to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's cross-platform, which would make it more desirable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
But so far they haven't said yet. In March, next month, they're taking away Rooms. So I don't know if that means they will tell us by March what replaces it in Windows Phone 8 and 10 or what. But
so I can see why people like this.
If you created a room, you can still keep it. But you just can't add new rooms.
You can't create new rooms. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So before you update your phone, make a room.
Yeah.
I hope they do bring something to replace it. The GroupMe stuff is kind of interesting because in Windows 10, the messaging app is like the way Skype works in Windows 10 is sort of interesting. Skype actually integrates into the messaging app now. And so you'll be able to, it doesn't do it in this build, but it's coming. And so the idea is a messaging app itself is a physical app that can be updated through the store. And they're going to allow interoperability with other services, I think VoIP services, but Skype is one of them. So during a conversation, you'll be able to like switch from Skype to SMS with a contact. And so that's sort of bringing back an old feature we used to have in Windows Phone with, like, say, the Facebook Messenger. I don't think it'll work with Facebook, but this is sort of where they're going with this stuff. And now they own GroupMe. In theory, GroupMe could be a part of that as well. But I honestly don't know what their plans are. But they, because everything, the big thing this Windows 10 phone preview is not so much what you see, it's all the underlying stuff. Right. The fact that a lot of the core apps in the operating system can now be updated through the store directly. And that's a huge change for them because now they can, instead of doing OS updates through carriers, they can literally push out updates through these apps and add features that way. And it's going to be a much more interesting model, I think, than the monolithic operating system where they couldn't even touch like the browser and other core components of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too because I get a lot of people complain, like they look at the Windows 10 preview for phone, they're like, "This is all they've done for 2 years. What have they been doing?"
It's
and
all
I'm
under
like,
the hood. It's all under the
I'm like,
hood.
you do realize that the operating system you're running on your phone is basically the same thing that's on like your tablets and PCs now. It's
amazing.
like it's kind of, it's a pretty huge deal, but that's something that is not consumer facing.
Right,
So we
right.
have to see what they're going to do in the next few
Right.
months.
Does it feel faster? Does it feel? I mean, is the experience improved some way that is tangible? Not really.
Yeah, it depends. There's still a lot of optimization that needs to be done, and that won't be done till later. So scrolling on the start screen can be jittery.
Yeah.
But yeah, certain apps like in settings, stuff like that, the new languages that you're using to write these universal apps are much faster and zippier than the previous versions. I think the final product, yes, I think it'll be actually very fast. I think it would be faster than what we currently have.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that aren't in there, right? So Spartan, the new browser is not there yet. The touch-enabled Office apps for Windows Phone, like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, the new versions of those aren't there yet. Those are going to be built
Outlook.
in when the phone's done. Skype, the Skype SMS stuff isn't there yet. So it's very early in this preview.
Yeah, no Outlook either, which...
Right, no Outlook.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ask one question about Windows Media Center.
No.
Okay. Please. I know,
someone's going to ask it.
Yeah, the chat room wants to know. Windows Media Center. I know Mary Jo and Paul don't want to talk about it. Daniel, any chance you want to talk about it?
No, but I think they're going to bring. I mean, it's funny what Media Center did. I think that can be replicated in the operating system. I don't think they.
Yeah,
they
why
need
have a
another
standalone app? Just do it.
Yeah. So I think that you're seeing. I mean, it's kind of cool that like MKV support, FLAC support, gapless playback, all that is coming now into Windows 10. I mean, even like FLAC and MKV, because it's in the Windows 10 desktop, it's also in Windows 10 phone, and that's all native now. So they're definitely doing a lot more with the media stuff, and I don't see why they can't. And what's really kind of cool about Windows 10, what they're doing is it's a much more dynamic system. It's almost crowdsourced built. So if people really want certain features, you can actually tell Microsoft to do that and vote on our user voice.
Really?
And they can literally just build that stuff in there.
Oh, come on. They're just saying that. They're not going to listen to me.
The user voice stuff is really interesting. I almost find, I don't know, Mary Jo, how do you feel about this? Like, part of me, I really like the idea that this operating system is sort of being crowdsourced, built up.
That's
They're
just
really,
PR. Really?
No, it's true.
I think it's partially PR and partially real. I mean, remember, we're coming from a very shell-shocked experience with Windows 8.
Yes, we are.
So whatever they do, even if they listen a little bit, it's going to feel like a lot.
Yeah.
But I think, there are certain things that even if the user voice community says they want it, they aren't going to do.
Sure. Like what?
So I think
like
there's
Windows
a line.
Media Center.
Like Windows Media Center.
Because I guarantee you there's 10,000 votes for that.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some things that for technical reasons or business reasons they're not going to respond to. On the other hand, if you say you want the start menu to be purple, they might do that.
They are
I don't know if they...
they're being
No,
pretty
like
responsive
here's an
to some of
example.
these.
Let's talk about the icons, right? Because people are really hating on the icons right now in Windows 10. They're like, these look like crap. So many people are saying that, right?
Really?
And
Wow.
Are they really going to change them between now and final? Maybe. Are they going to do it the way users want? Maybe not, or maybe we don't.
You know, that's a cheap way to respond to users. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what does it cost
But they
them?
have-
Big deal.
Yeah, they have their whole Metro
But
design
we have a design
language.
team. We pay them a lot of money, and
Right. So
The design
I don't
language
know how.
is definitely, the design language Windows 10 is, I don't know how to describe it right now. And I don't want to judge it too much because I don't feel like we're seeing the full picture of it.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing on phone is definitely a move away from what we've been doing with Windows Phone 7 and Windows Phone 8. The hamburger menu is so controversial for some people. And that's a perfect example of I don't know. The hamburger menu stuff is pretty universal. It's in web browsers. It's on Android. But the problem a lot of people point out is that it's in the upper left-hand corner, and when you're using your phone one-handed, you cannot reach across. And because right now, if you look at Windows Phone, it's very efficiently built. A lot of the menu stuff is all at the bottom, and so you can just use it with your thumb as you're holding it, including like Internet Explorer has the address bar at the bottom, which they moved originally from the top to the bottom because it was just a lot easier to use. But now all that stuff is moving to the top of the screen. And so a lot of people are complaining about it, but
because I'm a lefty, so the hamburger menu is positioned perfectly for me.
Yeah.
It's exactly where I want it.
They made it just for you.
Yeah.
The counter argument, of course, is that none of this has affected Android and iOS, right? So you can complain about their menu systems and everything being ineffectual, not good looking, and yet they're completely dominant in the marketplace. So I get the argument, how people want it, but at the same time, I'm not sure it actually matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also, do you really want an operating system designed by a committee, or do you want a clear, especially with design, I feel like you want a clear voice. In fact, maybe that was a little bit of what was wrong with Windows 8 is that it tried to please too many people. Or maybe just that it tried to please Steven Sinofsky, and that's
I think that's
I think.
Like,
it's funny because we're in the middle of a redesign of the website, and there's a lot of debate about hamburger menus in general.
Sure.
And the lot of the studies say people don't know what those. First of all, I should say what a hamburger menu is because I doubt people in common parlance know, because it doesn't look like a hamburger. It's 4 lines or 3 lines. It's a little square with 3 lines in it. And that is an abbreviation for there's a menu under here. This is the menu icon. But apparently studies show that users don't really get that and most often do not click it and are puzzled by where the stuff that they're looking for is. I'm glad Microsoft's doing
dots,
it.
Right?
Yeah, they do the 3 dots. And Android does 3 dots as well.
I don't think that's very intuitive either.
We decided not to use a hamburger, but to use the word menu. ... which is pretty explicit, right? That's on a big screen because it has to be mobile responsive, and then when it shrinks down, there's not enough room for menu ... So we just use a hamburger there, and hope that because it's mobile, people I think are a little more comfortable with the idea of a hamburger. But there's a lot of debate among designers. This stuff is not.
It's not easy.
You can't just throw it against the wall and say, "Well, how do you like that?" There's a lot of thought that goes into this. All right, let's take a break. Let's go GDR2. Do you want to mention that real quick?
Yeah.
It's out.
GDR2.
Who cares?
It exists.
It's there. Here comes GDR2.
Yeah. Remember, there was going to be an update to Windows Phone 8.1.
We don't call that update 2.
No, we don't, but we should.
I'm sorry, Mary
And it
Jo.
never came out.
That would imply that there was an update 1.
Which there were. Just saying. And
okay.
Yeah.
So it will be out when?
We don't know too much. So those documents that came out through Microsoft, that's mostly for OEMs and manufacturers. So it has to deal with hardware changes and how, if you're going to actually build a physical Windows Phone, those documents are for you. What it doesn't address is the actual consumer-facing features, which is actually what most people would be interested in. So we don't know what I don't expect anything huge to be in there, but there could be a lot of different little menus and new features added, but we just don't completely know the story yet. I understand it's been pared down as they basically refocused their resources onto Windows 10 development, which makes sense. So I wouldn't be surprised at Mobile World Congress we hear a little bit more about this.
You say it supports video conferencing. That is separate from Skype or Link or whatever, something else?
Yeah, this is for carriers. They can basically build in their own VoIP apps that can support this. So,
but the carrier has to do it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if it even affects Skype or what that means for the long term. But yeah, this is a sort of it's a thing that carriers can do. If you look at Windows Phone 8.1 right now, under the dialer, under settings, you can set a default video app for video calls.
So this is video over LTE is basically what we're talking about. Yeah.
And right now it's just Skype and it's grayed out because there are no apps that can integrate. But I think this might be part of that thing.
Huh. Is there demand, do you think, for basically this would be a video phone? right?
It's a good question. I don't know. Mary Jo, that's more enterprise stuff, I would imagine.
Is it?
With conferencing, I would imagine, you could,
it
businesses
may have
would
something to
want
do with Skype for Business, right? Which is linked.
Yeah.
Every iOS device comes with FaceTime, and all Macs come with FaceTime.
I mean, Microsoft's going to build SMS and Skype together into Windows Phone 10. Windows 10 Mobile, and I think also desktop. I'm not sure on the desktop though. So yeah, they're doing a lot of things to help people bridge Skype, consumer Skype, and the business Skype for Business. And this, one of the last things they had to do was find a way to bridge the video capability. I don't know if this is what is connected with that or not.
So it is a business thing, not a consumer thing.
Well, I think that the big thing is not so much the the direct video stuff. It's the actual conferencing that you can have multiple video streams within.
I see.
Like on your phone.
I see. So if without carrier support, which
yeah.
What do you have? What do you really have? Nothing. A lot of nothing. Let's take a break. Daniel Rubino is filling in for Paul this week. Daniel's from WinCentral, windowscentral.com. He's also on the Twitter at Daniel_Rubino. Mary Jo Foley from allaboutmicrosoft.com. Lots more to come. But first, a word from our sponsor, IT Pro TV. I know for those of you who are in IT, that keeping your skills up is an ongoing process, right? This tech world changes all the time. And if you want to get into IT, same thing. Even more importantly, you might want that piece of paper, that cert that says to a future employer, you know your stuff. You could go to an expensive technical school for that. You could go to the bookstore and spend hundreds of dollars on manuals. Or you could try this, IT Pro TV, the fast and easy, and I have to say, entertaining way to get your skills up. They're on the air right now. I see the red blinking light at itpro.tv. Let's see what we're talking about right now. By the way, you may say, gee, that looks an awful lot like what you're doing. Well, they kind of have modeled it on Twit, which I love. Oh, I'm not logged in. I'll log in. And by the way, you see the price is very affordable, really, compared to going out and even buying a few manuals. $57 a month, $570 a year. I'm going to give you a special deal in just a second. Let me log into my IT Pro TV account and see what they're talking about right now. Every week, they add 30 hours of content. And they have a lot of features that are going to make it easier for you to learn. We've talked before about the Measure Up practice exams. Those are worth $79. They come free with your subscription. I'm a big fan, let me show you this, of the virtual machine. So if you don't have a Windows server in your back pocket, so maybe it's a little hard to get going, learning all this stuff, they've got a sandbox environment for hands-on practice and learning, and all you need is an HTML5 browser. It means you can do it on a Chromebook. Get your Windows server running, get your clients running. You can mess them up, as I always do. Really screw things up bad and just restart. No big deal. It is fantastic, and this is all included with your subscription. You also get to interact with the hosts via chat during the show. Oh, somebody's watching it on the WinBook TW700. That's another. That's kind of cool, too. That's another great thing you can do with IT Pro TV. Watch not only on your computer, but on your tablet, your laptop. And if you subscribe for a full year, just pay ahead. Not only do you save a lot of money, you also get DRM-free downloads, so you can consume offline, get on a plane or whatever. Corporate and group pricing available. Clients include HP, UCSD, Penn State, Stanford, many other schools and colleges, and groups that support our military and our veterans, which I think is really, really great. Hundreds of hours of content. Apple, Microsoft, Cisco, A+, CCNA, Security+, MCSA, CISSP, PowerShell, Linux Plus, and oh, by the way, their player, and I think maybe they're putting the new player in right now. That's probably what's going on here. Is going to have Chromecast support. So you could just put it up on the big screen or use their Roku player. They have a Roku player too. Now, here's the deal. Check out itpro.tv/WW because you're a Windows Weekly viewer. itpro.tv/WW. You can get a 7-day free trial and save a lot of money when you use our offer code WW30. You'll get 30% off, which brings your rate down to, if I do my math right here, $40, a little less of $40 a month, $399 the entire year. But you get 7 days to have the run of the place, too, which is really great. So you can see. There's Don sitting with me on the Twitch set. They're big fans. We love them. We've been with them since the very beginning, and they have grown like crazy because they have provided such a great source. Go to itpro.tv/WW. Learn more about IT Pro TV. By the way, not only do we have the WW30 subscription, the 7-day free trial, 30% off, but as you reach your year mark, they're celebrating their year anniversary, they're going to reduce your subscription rate even further. Starting in month 13, they bring your cost down to $24.95 a month, or $249 for the entire year. Lots of people using IT Pro TV to keep their skills up. Lots of people using it to get a great job. I want you to try it today, free, for 7 days. itpro.tv/WW. And by the way, don't worry, no risk. It's easy to cancel. I know you're not going to want to, but isn't it nice to know that, you have to be happy? Tim and Don really are great about that. itpro.tv/WW. Don't forget that offer code, WW30. We thank them for their support of Windows Weekly. Daniel Rubino is here from Windows Central. Mary Jo Foley, we're talking Windows. Hey, Daniel, in the snow. Mary Jo, it's not as snowy in New York. You're not so bad, right?
No, we get a little snow this week, but not much.
It's not blocking the way to Rattle and Hum.
No. That path is well cleared.
Cleared
by
with
me.
beer. Next week, Windows 10 Desktop Preview release. Wait a minute. I thought we already had the Windows 10 Desktop Preview. What are you talking about here? There's going to be a new release?
I'm just guessing this.
Okay.
I'm guessing this.
Tell us.
Because Microsoft right now has said they're on a roughly monthly release schedule for updated technical preview builds for Windows 10 and also for Windows 10 Mobile now. And I don't think we're going to see it this week. I mean, there's still 2 days left of this week, so I can't say for sure. But I'm betting it's going to be next week that we'll see the February Windows 10 desktop release for the preview.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So right now, those two things are not in sync. We just had the Windows 10 mobile preview, and now we're going to have the desktop preview. I don't know if they'll ever be in sync or not, or if Microsoft will keep those two things separate and just kind of catch one up to the other.
How different I mean, they're different on top. Isn't the runtime the same underneath?
It is.
Yeah.
The runtime is the same. A lot of the features are starting to converge. The tools are going to converge. That's how you're going to have these universal apps that are going to work across different form factors that run Windows 10.
Yeah.
But right now, they're not the same operating system. Windows 10 desktop is different from Windows 10 mobile, even though Microsoft's going to just call them all Windows 10.
Right.
Just to keep it really confusing.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And actually, Microsoft just rolled out 2 updates for Windows 10.
Right.
And 2 of them are apparently in preparation for the next update. So it does look like they're getting the groundwork ready for probably next week. Yeah.
I'm confused. So they've just rolled out 2 updates. What am I getting next week? Another update?
Well, these are software hot fixes. They're not
hot fixes,
OS updates. Yeah.
Yep.
So next week I'm going to get what I got last time, but it's going to be new.
With new features. We think. Fixes,
It will be an update for those who are already running Windows 10 Technical Preview.
Right. And if you aren't yet running it and you want to jump in, you could jump in with the February Tech Preview.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, and what's
so a
kind
lot
of
of
cool
people
about
are
this was
curious. Sorry, Daniel. I was going to say Spartan is the one, right? Everybody's
the new
wondering,
browser.
is Spartan
So we
gonna
don't
be
yet
in there?
have the new browser?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
And I'm betting it's not going to be in this next release, but I don't know that for sure. I just think it's still a little early.
How can you tell the difference? Is it the UI is different on Spartan? Because the browser's a browser, right?
Yeah, it's going to look different. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't really seen much of Spartan. We've seen some leaked screenshots of it, but no one outside publicly.
Well, I just don't want anybody to be disappointed. Fireworks are not going to go off. The web is not going to look better. It's going to have a new UI, and maybe the engines may be different because they forked it and tried it and whatever. But It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just another. It's come on, really. People are going. Oh, I can't wait to get Spartan.
Well, you know
So
what? It's going to be more like Chrome and Firefox, right?
Right.
So it's going to be lighter weight. We've heard, and it's possibly going to be supporting extensions. We've heard. So it is going to be different from IE, even though it does have the same rendering engine as is in IE 11.
Right.
Well, you have the Edge HTML engine, though, right? Isn't that
right? The Edge HTML engine.
Yeah, and so that's actually in the Windows 10 preview. You can actually enable it now, and that gives basically greater. It does. It kind of tricks the web out there. It doesn't see the web. Can't discriminate against it as being like an Internet Explorer browser. So it sort of changes some of the user string agent stuff. And it's going to be, I mean, they're supporting a lot more standards now with the browser, including streaming standards for video, dynamic streaming. It is a completely new browser. It's going to be like the foundations of it is different. And the UI, I think they're going to keep minimal and basic. You'll have, just a couple tools. But yeah, some of the features are kind of neat, like the ability to annotate directly on a web page.
That will be
a
different.
pen.
Yeah, that's right. That will be different.
In the Word integration.
People with pen versions of Windows will be like excited about that. That's kind of cool.
Yes.
What happens to those annotations? Do they come back when you go back to that page? We don't know.
No one knows.
No one's ever used it.
I think what happens from the leaks is you can annotate the page, it stores it in OneDrive, and then anybody can access it even if they don't have Windows and still see those annotations.
Oh, so you can share them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what we've heard. Again,
that would be cool.
No one's seen that publicly.
Okay.
But
So, all right, I take it back. So there is reason to be interested.
it could be cool.
But you don't think we're
I'm
getting
looking.
it next week anyway?
I don't know. I
don't
think it's
think so.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, everybody seems to be. I would expect March, April, May, around there. I think they're still just kind of building. The other cool thing about this browser too is, and Mary Jo might be able to give a little more details, is that it's a true app. It's going to be updated through the store as well. And so, like right now, Internet Explorer is kind of difficult to update through the operating system. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a bigger chore. But this is going to be an actual app. So just like you run the Windows Store
That's
right now,
how it should be.
Yeah, and it's going to be the same for phone too. So everything's going to be the same and unified. So I think that's kind of cool because then if they want to change something in the browser, if they want to support another standard, they can just push that out without having to roll up. Like we really got away from the service packs, right? That's like really old. Now we're doing a lot more frequent updates, but even a lot of the stuff will be moved to the store and just happen as system app updates in the background. So.
Well, this is something exciting to
it is.
to get.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. We kind of skipped ahead and did WDGS already.
Yeah, we did. What did Gabe all say?
This is going to be a new feature of the show apparently every week. What did Gabe all say?
I know you know what he's really good at is he's been answering everybody on Twitter, and he's very good at dropping little hints about this might happen, this might not happen, but not giving away the farm.
Microsoft
I think
needs that guy. Actually, every company
they do.
needs that guy. Larry Herb used to do it. I don't know how active he's been lately in the Xbox arena.
He's still there.
He still does stuff because that was the single best. Xbox PR was sucky. Still is, but Larry's great.
Yeah,
and he's still running his blog.
Yeah, that face, that real human face, adding that even to something as big as Windows, is important. I think.
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah, and more. It can't just be lip service either. It has to be somebody who really does have some knowledge and access, who can give you it's not just a PR job.
Right.
And you're never going to get
Joe.
Joe B is going to be too busy to do this, so it's going to can't be Joe B.
No, Gabe was funny. He was giving hints about when they were going to drop the Windows 10 mobile preview. What was his hint? It was something so crazy.
13,
he was
16.
like, 1316. He said, if you can decipher this clue, 1316, and no one could get it. It was something in octal, right?
In octal.
Yeah,
okay, he gets his geek street cred then. I'll tell you. What is his title?
He's head of the Windows Insider Program.
Okay, that's good.
I think he has another title too. He's something.
Yeah, officially it's a long thing. Like it's something I haven't memorized.
And he doesn't put it on his
Twitter
Twitter
operating system
page.
group. So he is very involved, and he knows as much as anybody about what's coming and when it's coming.
Yeah. By the way, the Insider program, good on Microsoft for doing that. And that's how you would get Windows 10.
Yep.
You have to join that program. So that's part of this whole new public face. I think it's great.
It is.
They even, they have their support engineers. Some of their engineers actually work on Windows 10 in our forums, directly helping people. And so when people have questions or talk about design and stuff like that, yeah, we made they have official badges too in our forums.
WindowsCentral.com. That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
So they definitely are a lot more interactive with the community, and they love it. I mean, if you talk to the employees, they're much happier this way because now they're a little bit more free to be that public face, to actually answer people. You know, they have to be careful, of course, not to say things and commit to them publicly that they can't deliver. But because of this preview stuff, what I love about the preview program, by the way, is the fact that we can get away from leaks.
Right.
I mean, leaks still happen, but now it's kind of cool. We don't need to think about like what's coming in Windows 10. It's like, you know, every couple of weeks they're going to actually push out this operating system and anyone can use it. So it's like less of a secret, you know. So yeah.
Let's see what else. That was we'll get a graphic made up and some music. The WDGS segment. Gabe.
What does Gabe all say?
AUL. GABEAUL on Twitter. Office news.
Yeah, Leo, I'm super interested in what you think of one of the pieces of this Office news that came out this week.
All right.
So Microsoft said they're opening up the touch first version of Office, and they're starting with Office for iPad and Office for iPhone to more cloud storage providers.
Right, I saw that.
Including iCloud and Box and others.
Dropbox probably, right?
Dropbox. Dropbox is already in there. Salesforce.
How about Google Drive?
Yeah.
Not so much.
No Google Drive, huh?
Not yet.
Then if they did that, I would go, wow. I'd be impressed. Yeah. That's all right. Everybody probably has one of these other third-party services.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because what you can do is if you can edit and store. Let me double check this so I say it correctly. You can open, edit, and save documents from these services, right? So if you're on Office for iPad and you want to open, save, or edit a document that's in iCloud, you can do that now.
So it's essentially a peer to OneDrive, right?
Except you can't create.
Well, wait a minute.
If the document's already created.
Wait a minute.
I think.
Well, wait a minute. So you would create anyway in the app. You're not going to create. You create and then save.
Yeah,
you don't have to save it to OneDrive first. That would be weird.
I think up until now you did, right? And there were
it was like
applications.
Even on phone, it was like that for a while. You couldn't create a document. Yeah.
No, here's the thing. This guy, Joe Casara, said to me, you know what? I'm disappointed Office for iOS doesn't allow saving newly created documents to iCloud. It edits and saves what's already there.
How do you get it to iCloud? If that's the case.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. All right, let me
drag and drop.
Yeah.
No.
Because
you can't just put a document in iCloud. It has to be associated with something.
You can't just like drop a document in there, right?
Let me open Office and try to. Now, well, it won't. This is new, right? So
yeah, it's new.
I won't be able to tell if it's what it's doing.
Yep. So what's enabling this is in iOS 8, Apple has opened up some of these app extensions. So Microsoft's basically piggybacking onto those app extensions.
Right. Yeah, you can't really blame Microsoft, at least on iOS, for limitations because.
No, it's up to what Apple opens up. Right?
Although most apps, in fact, Apple's own app, well, I don't know about Apple's own apps, but most apps allow you to save to a variety of storage providers. That's not unusual. I use an app called Mailbox that lets me pull attachments from, OneDrive, Dropbox, Box, all the other storage places. So that's not a limitation of iOS in that respect. Saving might be, though.
I know.
That may be something Microsoft can't get. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to have to do some research. Do some research.
I'm looking at a list of extensions. The document provider extensions let you do import, export, open, move.
Huh. but not save.
Not save.
Import, export.
Yep. Import, export, open, and move.
I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means. We'll have to wait until they do it, and we'll find out. And believe me, I will be howling if I can't. I mean, I use OneDrive. So first of all, I applaud Microsoft for being open to the idea that somebody might want to use something besides OneDrive. Although if you have an Office subscription, you have OneDrive, and it's one of those. It works best with OneDrive. I don't know a lot of people that are clamoring to use iCloud. Maybe really hardcore iOS people are, but Apple's done such a hash of iCloud. Most developers, in fact, don't want to. They have to put an iCloud support, but they'll end up putting another storage provider's support in because iCloud is so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I have nothing to add. I'll try it when it comes out. When is that coming out?
I think it's. The iOS part is available now, I believe.
Did I get it? Oh, maybe all right. Let me look.
Yeah,
see if there's an update for Word. Okay, cool.
Yep. So anyway, it's an yet another interesting piece for Microsoft's cross-platform strategy.
February 16th, 2 days ago.
That was the day. Yep.
I got an update to Excel and Word. It says Word says iCloud support, as you said, open, edit, and save. Save's in there.
Okay.
So open, edit, and save. You can't create.
It's not create, right? Yeah, you just can't create a document.
But what? So if I make a document, if I open Word, type, and then try to save it, I can't save it to iCloud. I have to save it to OneDrive and then.
And then move it or export it, maybe.
Okay.
This used to be like this with Office too on the phone, where I think you couldn't. There was no way to create a new document. You can open documents, edit them, and save them, but there was no way to create a new one. And I think it's probably the same thing here. So the document has to already exist on the server, but then you can open it and save it, but you can't create a new document on the device and save it to the cloud.
Well,
so you'd have to do it on like another computer.
I haven't logged in yet on my Microsoft account on this. It's going to take me a little bit to get it set up, but I will, while you're talking. Okay. I shall endeavor to get this set up and let you know what it'll do, what it won't do.
So then another piece of Office news from this week was around the Outlook apps for iOS and Android. These are the apps that were formerly known as Acompli. Microsoft bought Acompli email apps back in December. Then just a week or two ago, they released those apps and called them Outlook. And they did very little else to them besides just rebrand them at that point. This week, they've said they are starting to provide some of the updates to these apps that they had promised. One of the first things they're doing is enabling password control for these apps, because this is an IT requested feature and something that may prevent some of these apps from being allowed into various enterprise shops because they don't have this kind of a capability. So they're building in the PIN lock password enforcement using Exchange ActiveSync first. That's one of the very first things they're going to roll out. They're doing more around remote wiping of devices to lock that down. And then they, of course, are going to do one of the obvious things that we mentioned, I think, a week or two ago on the show. They're going to move the Outlook Cloud service off of Amazon Web Services and put it on Azure, because right now it's running against an Amazon Web server. And they're going to do more, they say, in the coming weeks and months, like supporting local syncing of contacts, doing more localization for different languages, removing the preview label from the Outlook for Android version of the Acompli app. So they've got a lot of things coming. They know that for the enterprise, they have to do a lot of things to gain acceptance of this app. Even though consumers really love it and many business users really love Acompli, they know that it has to be locked down a lot more for enterprise organizations to let this app into the company.
So I apologize for calling that guy a moron.
So he's right.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to go so far as to say he's right. He's just not a moron.
But there's some weird connection or catch, right?
Right.
With this.
Right.
Yep.
And so I also think, what we saw, at least at the new Outlook for Windows 10 at the Microsoft event, it looked very much like this Accompli app. Yeah. And so I think what we're seeing
unchanged
in iOS and Android is going to be very much what's coming to Windows and Windows Phone, especially that swipe feature. The pin stuff is really interesting because on OneDrive on iOS, I believe it actually has a pin lock option, which is actually really nice. And it's not on Windows Phone. And so that stuff still needs to kind of come over to, our side. And so that's going to be kind of fun. That's why I like watching the iOS and Android apps, because it really is sort of a look into the future for Windows.
All right. So I have created a Microsoft Word document, and I've signed up to...
Nice document.
Yeah, well, this is my apology to the guy. Where's save? I don't even know where save is. Maybe if I go back here, I've signed up to Dropbox. Oh, save as document 1 to Dropbox. And it's saving it. So I didn't see iCloud on here, but it does work. I was able to save this to Dropbox. And it says Dropbox here. OneDrive. These other documents are saved in OneDrive, but this one, document 1, is saved in Dropbox. Let me open it. And there it is in all its glory. So I was able to create, save, round trip it.
I wonder if it's different on iOS. I don't know.
This is an iPad.
I mean, sorry, no, I mean with
in iCloud. I don't even, when I add a new, I don't even see iCloud as a service I can add. These are the services: OneDrive for Business, Dropbox. Maybe there's something on my iPad.
Maybe that hasn't been updated yet.
Well, anyway, it does it to Dropbox. I don't see why it wouldn't do it to iCloud unless they want to be jerks about it, to use a Paul Thurrott phrase. Am I signed into iCloud here? Let me just check, make sure. I think I am. Yep. Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
To be continued.
So it doesn't even offer me iCloud, and this is the one this is updated on the 16th.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It did offer Dropbox, and I was able to create, save to Dropbox, and reload. So that all is wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
A good start.
Yep. Don't know what it means.
We'll know more as this rolls out.
Time will tell, as they say.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Have they said anything about what they're going to do with Sunrise? They bought the calendar app.
No, they haven't really said much about that. I asked them if they were going to have a Windows Phone version or a Windows version of Sunrise, and they said, "Yeah, you can." You would guess that we would have a Windows Phone version of Sunrise. But we have nothing to say there.
They should, because actually Sunrise is awesome.
Yeah.
I think it'll be, once again, they're going to take parts of it and put it, because they showed us the new Outlook calendar that they're working on for phone, and it's really impressive. It's just like this beautiful, colorful, much more feature-filled calendar app. And so I imagine whatever is unique about Sunrise, which I've tried once or twice, but I don't use it on a regular basis. But whatever is sort of unique, did you want to put that in there? The Accompli stuff, they really like the swiping and the inbox management features. So I think what they're doing is sort of picking certain features and they're going to build this stuff into Outlook.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I would do, right? Because Outlook is all about not just email, but calendar and address book too.
Right.
Yeah. Although Accompli had calendar features, which is kind of the weird part about all of this. I would have thought they'd buy an address book program.
Maybe they will. They seem to be buying up a lot of mobile programs right now.
Right.
People have been asking me if they're going to integrate Accompli with Sunrise and create a single app. I don't think that's the plan, but I don't know. Not sure.
Not sure. Don't know.
Nope.
All right. Updates.
We got to talk about the Android rumor.
What's the Android rumor?
I don't know if you covered this too, Daniel, but there was a rumor I think it was late last week, that Microsoft might have negotiated a deal with Samsung to put some of Microsoft's apps and services on the upcoming Samsung Nexus 6. Did you guys cover this at all?
Yeah.
I don't know if we covered it.
We did.
Yeah, I thought this was familiar with it.
Huge story, I think.
Yep, the Galaxy S6.
Yeah.
So it was a site called Sam Mobile, and they said Galaxy S6 will remove the pre-installed Samsung apps like S Voice, S Health, S Note, and Scrapbook, and replace them with OneDrive, OneNote, and the Office mobile apps, and possibly also Skype.
We thought this was very interesting, and it makes a lot of sense from Samsung's point of view.
It's kind of crazy, though, right?
You know what? I think it's a bid to get into the enterprise. I think it's great.
Yeah.
You know, the crazy part is maybe Microsoft doing this.
Right.
But from Samsung's point of view, this, you know, Samsung's been trying to get enterprise with Knox and so forth. In fact, Knox has been approved for government purchase in other places. That's their secure store. If, you know, Google services, if you didn't want to use Google Apps, Google Calendar, you know, Google Keep for note-taking and stuff, you wanted to be in the Microsoft universe, you pretty much, there isn't really a good Android choice. So this is great. I think this is a very smart idea. And frankly, these apps are better than the Samsung apps. The one thing maybe not, I don't know. I mean, I use a Note 4 with a stylus, and so the Samsung apps are tuned for the stylus. But OneNote does that, right? It supports pressure, sensitivity, and stuff like that. I would love to see this.
I think this is part of the... Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, I think this is part of Nadella's bigger plans that we've been seeing a lot more of lately, which is make peace with a lot of these companies like Salesforce, Box, and everybody. Like all these companies now are coming out and be like, oh my God, the new Microsoft is so awesome and they're so good to work with. So that's why this story, I think, has, like, you know, a lot of credibility to it. You know, we knew Samsung and Microsoft had this lawsuit thing going on. They wanted to settle it. I think Nadella was probably just like, let's just get this settled and let's make a deal. And I think it's good for everyone because, you know, Samsung's products are still highly recognized, and that would be a huge, you know, win for Microsoft to get their stuff on there.
The question, of course, is can Samsung do this? Doesn't Google require you, if you use their store or even maybe just Android itself, to carry like all Google stuff?
That's different. So
is it? Okay.
Yeah, so the deal, so there's two ways to be Android. One is to be open source AOSP Android with no Google services.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that, except somebody doesn't want to pay anything for services, because then you'd have to duplicate all the services. A few companies have done that. The other way to go is you say, yes, Google, you can certify this, and what you have to do is run Google in the back with Google services in the background, the Google Store. But we're not talking about replacing those. We're talking about replacing the crappy Samsung apps.
Yeah.
Right.
So I imagine, so Samsung has both. Samsung has Google apps and Samsung apps for calendar, for email, for browser, for a lot of things. So if you replace not the Google apps, but just the Samsung apps, I think that's a win. I don't know anybody who says, oh, golly, I really wish I had those Samsung calendar apps.
Right. Well, this was the bigger thing, right, with Samsung a couple of years ago. You know, they were becoming what I find fascinating about Samsung is they run their own developer conference for Android.
Right.
They have their own APIs. Like
they do have their own store. They have a store.
Yeah. I mean, they were set to sort of take over Android. And when you talk to them behind the scenes, they're like, Android's basically ours. And they were going to kind of take it away from Google. And Google was, you know, getting a little worried with that stuff, especially with that new UI. Right. And so they made this deal. But now Samsung is kind of getting around this deal and now making a deal with Microsoft. So
nobody wants to be beholden to any one company anyway, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about leverage.
And the other part of this that makes this a little more believable to me too is right before this leak happened, Microsoft and Samsung settled their Android patent case.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody would talk about what the terms were. It was like, yep, we settled and we're not saying anything else. So what if the settlement required Samsung to do this?
No.
Yeah.
Required?
Well,
why would Google do that? Google hates Microsoft. Google's not going to require.
No, I mean Samsung.
Oh, Samsung said, "Hey, Google, by the way, we want to be able to do this." I don't know
if Samsung said to Microsoft,
"Oh, to Microsoft,
right, we'll settle our patent suit with you, and what's the term?" And Microsoft says,
"Right, I see what you're saying.
Hey, if you bundle our apps, we'll just say." Yeah, all's forgiven. The
funny thing, it was the settlement of the Google Samsung suits that everybody assumed was why Samsung backed off Tizen and this.
Right.
Yeah.
So these lawsuits, man.
Yeah, you never know what's really happening.
You don't have to look much farther than consumer appeal to understand this. This is a good everybody I've talked to says, man, I would be very interested in an S6 if it was Microsoft instead of Samsung apps. Not replace the Google apps, but replace the Samsung crap apps.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then you throw in that rumor with Microsoft investing in Cyanogen.
Right. That's interesting.
Android. And then, Android apps and Windows. I mean, there's Microsoft's got this weird strategy of, swiping away Google's Android from them. It should be interesting to watch.
Yep.
Okay. Exciting. By the way, I have now created many documents in Microsoft Word. I've saved them all on the iPad. I've saved them all over the place. I took a Microsoft Word document that was saved onto OneDrive, opened it, saved it to Dropbox. But I don't know why I don't have access to iCloud at all. So I don't know what that story is. But at least if it's Dropbox, that's exact peer with OneDrive.
Yep.
No difference. Is that not new?
No, the Dropbox agreement they had in place, that was the one that they already had. But then there are all these other new ones. The iCloud, the Box, and the Salesforce are all new.
This is so weird because it does say iCloud support.
Yep. Can you go through your app and go into your iCloud from there and try to edit a document?
I don't see iCloud at all. Maybe there's a setting somewhere that I have to attach iCloud Drive on, Photos, Mail. Keychain. I don't know. I don't see anywhere. Let's go to the Apple's weird because they store settings for programs, not just in the program, but in the settings for this operating system. So let me go see if there's a separate Microsoft Word switch.
Even if it's there, it's super hard to find, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I would say that I understand pretty well. Allow Word to access photos. This is version 1.6, which I think is the most help us improve auto format. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, and when I go to Word, hello. When I go to Word, I just don't see a storage method for this. So I don't know. Yeah. Connected service, OneDrive, Dropbox, add a service. Connected cloud
add a service.
I did, and that's OneDrive,
that's
OneDrive versus Dropbox. Let me, maybe Excel. I don't know. Anyway, who cares? We don't really care because it's a Windows show.
Right.
Screw those iPad users.
Although, man, covering Microsoft anymore, it's like you're not just covering Windows.
I know. Isn't that interesting, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody's saying, open the tab in the Word application and press the More button. I don't know what that means. All right. We're going to take a break. You know what? That's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to resolve this. I'm going to take a break. Open the tab and press the More button. Now, all I can do, add a service, I would think would be the one where it would give me...
Seems like...
Yeah. And it doesn't... Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe because I'm not signed into OneDrive? No? No, because I was able to open and save to OneDrive. I don't know.
It's a mystery.
Maybe that's why you can't... That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Our show today brought to you by HipChat. HipChat. We love HipChat. How's your team communicating, friends? Are they using email and IM and kind of cobbling together a solution? Maybe a little texting on the side, cloud storage from one of many different providers. Wouldn't it be nice if you had everything in one place? It worked with everything you've got, but it kept track of where you stand. This is HipChat. We love HipChat. It's instant messaging. It's video chat. It's document sharing. It's screen sharing, system updates, code sharing. And it's really designed for teams all in one platform that are working together. We're using it with our, I first discovered it when we were using it with our web design team. They're big HipChat users. It's an Agile company that uses Agile. And so we were really introduced to HipChat that way. And it's been great. I mean, I live in HipChat now. Email, we do a little email, but it's too slow. It's asynchronous. And meetings, God, don't give me any more meetings. I am not great for groups, but look at this. HipChat will run on Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS, and you can always launch the web app, which will run in anything, including IE 9 and up. to keep track of what's going on. You've got all the people. This is actually my HipChat, the rooms. We've got lots of rooms, including our Twit team and Twit engineering. We are very HipChatted up. HipChat will integrate with the top developer tools too, like GitHub, Jira, Zendesk, 57 services in all that HipChat plays beautifully with. They bring your entire project and team communications together in one place. I invite you to go to hipchat.com/Windows Weekly, and you can try it for free. Hipchat.com. I'm going to type this in /Windows Weekly, and you can see all the services you'll get. It's fun to set up. You're going to have a blast doing it. Oh, I guess because I'm logged in, it's not showing that page. Go there yourself. Get your team on the same page in seconds. There's a freemium version you can use free forever. For the next 30 days, you'll get the full version of HipChat. That includes the bonus features of video and screen sharing. And it's free, and you don't have to give them a credit card. Go to HipChat, hipchat.com/Windows Weekly. Sign up, click Start Chatting, invite team members, because it's no fun by yourself. And you can try it free for 30 days. And for a limited time, the first 100 people who sign up right now, because they're listening to this show, we're going to give you 90 days, not just 30, but 3 months to try HipChat free. HipChat.com/Windows Weekly. HipChat, your team, your project, in sync, instantly. Big fan. I've got it on everything. I've got HipChat on every mobile device. We continue on. Daniel Rubino is here from Windows Central. Mary Jo Foley from All About Microsoft. Paul Thurrott is in the Maldives. No, he's in Puerto Rico. And he's enjoying the sun and the fun. I don't see any reason why Paul couldn't Skype in from Puerto Rico.
With drink in hand.
With drink in hand. Actually, he'd make us jealous. Maybe he shouldn't.
He would.
Yeah. Xbox Act development. This was good. Another thing that I saw this morning that got me excited. We would love to have an Xbox app for Twit, just as we do a Roku app. But Microsoft makes it hard and, frankly, expensive. You could do it on your own with your own developers, but then you have to go through an extensive certification process. So Microsoft says, you really should use our developers. Go through us with our certified developers. And it was, I mean, we were talking $100,000 for an app by the time we were all in. Revision 3 took a chance and did it on their own, but then had to get Microsoft to certify it. And that was a pain. I remember Rob Greenlee, who's no longer at Microsoft, but he said, it's expensive. This will change that, I hope. This is from The Verge. Is this accurate, do you think, this rumor?
Yes. This is a Tom Warren story, and he has a good track record on Microsoft. So he wrote a story this week saying, here's what we have been wondering. We've been wondering, when will Microsoft put Windows 10 on the Xbox? Because Xbox One right now is built on Windows 8. And we've known that they're going to make it a Windows 10 platform at some point so that universal apps will work on the Xbox as well as PCs and phones and tablets. Tom's sources tell him they're going to put Windows 10 on the Xbox before the end of this year. And that once they do that, people will be able to submit universal apps that will run on the Xbox. So towards the end of this year that they'll be able to do that. Before that happens, there'll be an SDK, he said, an SDK preview right around May that's going to let people start tinkering with how they can build universal apps that'll work on the Xbox. And we know that Microsoft has said ultimately the goal is to have one store everywhere. So with Windows 10, we're going to have one store for phone apps and PC apps.
See, we would love that because we'd make a Twit app and we'd have it in all three platforms.
Right. And you wouldn't have to rewrite it so much because you could use a lot of the same code and just tweak it for the correct user interface.
So this reduces the certification requirements for Xbox too?
That's what we think.
That'd be great.
We think so. Yep.
It totally makes sense. I mean, they've dropped a lot of hints about this. I mean, the fact that we know Xbox is going to Windows 10, I think they'll obviously tell more of this story at Build and E3 and even the GDC conference coming up. So there's a lot to tell here, but sure, it makes sense, right? I mean, if Xbox can run Windows, why not have it? And it's actually not just Windows, right? I mean, Xbox One runs like 3 operating systems.
Yeah.
So there's the part with the TV media stuff, the gaming, and then the other part. And so they can silo these things off from each other. And I don't see a reason why this wouldn't be the case. Now, the question I think is interesting is how useful will it be? Like, what kind of apps are we talking about? Now, for Twit TV, it makes like a lot of sense, right? You guys can put an app on there. I can watch it in my living room.
We'd like to have it be, you know, like the HBO app or whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix that.
But I'm not so sure about other third-party apps. Like, am I going to use Foursquare on Xbox One? You know, like
you keep checking it at the same place, Daniel. I don't understand.
Exactly. So there's like some limitations here as far as usefulness and UI and everything, and how we'll take advantage of them. But still, that's a good problem to have, I think. You know,
it's a huge advantage. It's fantastic.
Yeah, entertainment apps, right? Is the main gaming entertainment, right? But you know, I said to Tom, kind of half in jest, I'm like, what about enterprise apps? What about CRM, right? And, you know, if they could make a case for it, maybe there's some crazy case where you're working at home and you need to dial into a meeting. And
I got a case for you. Right now, for instance, when I watch the Super Bowl on my Xbox One, I have an NFL app. I could slide in that tells me or any football game, how my fantasy team is going. I can see an executive wanting a dashboard, an executive-style dashboard on sales or what, you know. Don't executives do that? Like they don't really want to use a computer, but they'd love a dashboard that shows them how metrics are going. You know, how's the plant? I don't know what it is. I don't do business.
Power BI on the Xbox.
There you go. And not necessarily like you're not going to put an Excel spreadsheet on it. but that's why a dashboard makes sense, because it's an informational it's a display, right? So it doesn't have to be anything too. Now Hadoop is already there, so we're not worried about that.
I want the Domino's app.
Domino's.
How about Notepad, guys? Notepad.
You
Xbox
want Domino's? Not Lotus Domino. You're talking about
no. Domino's
like
pizza.
a 10-spot. Oh, Domino's pizza.
Well, they have it. It's already in the UK, and so in the UK there's a Domino's.
That should
pizza
pop
app.
up.
Well, it's amazing. You can use Connect voice control to order a pizza.
We noticed you've been sitting for 8 hours. Would you like a pizza or a catheter? Your choice.
And then you can pin it, you know, snap it over, and you can actually, they have the pizza tracker. They show it being made, and then it's out for delivery and all that.
But that's only in the UK?
It's only in the UK for now. It was a different team that built it, but I assume they're waiting to see how well it does and bring it here.
Too bad it's such a crappy pizza, but...
Oh, I like Domino's.
What?
I know. It's not pizza. I know. Here's the thing. Okay, so I lived in New York for a long time, so I get New York pizza. New York pizza is amazing, but Domino's is what
it's 30 minutes away.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It's what Taco Bell is to Mexican food.
Right.
Like, no one eats Taco Bell because they like Mexican food. They eat Taco Bell because they like Taco Bell. I eat Domino's because I like Domino's, not because I like pizza. It's like its own thing.
No.
So.
No. You know, although we always thought, and I'm now ruining this, that we would have Domino's as a sponsor, and that right about lunchtime a pizza would arrive throughout our shows.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be a good idea? And we'd have a big Domino's box. And
drop some hints.
Yeah, a little product placement. Wouldn't be a bad thing. Is this Xbox One only? We're not going back to the 360, right? You can't do that.
I think it's Xbox One.
Yeah.
Yep.
360 is fading into the sunset.
Actually, it's not. Is it?
It's still around, but...
Oh, it's definitely around. A lot of people are using it, but a lot of the new features and stuff that are coming, like for instance, like the streaming to Windows 10.
Yeah.
That's Xbox One. You know, that's where all the developments are going.
I am a huge Xbox One fan, and I use it far more as a media center than I do for. I do some gaming, but I love it as a media center.
That's what I do too.
Yeah, and I love, frankly, I love the Connect. I like talking to my TV.
Turning it on and off is just like, and pausing, it's volume up, all that. Like every time I go to a hotel now, it's a joke. Like I walk in, I'm like, Xbox on. And it, like, I just wish it would just do it.
Sorry, Daniel.
It's so convenient.
I'm still amazed. I go to hotel rooms that have Nintendo 64s embedded in the TV. It's like,
I haven't seen that. That's crazy.
I can play Spyro the Dragon if I really want. Yeah, there's some. I must go to cheesy hotels. All right. Good. Well, I think this is this is exciting. It's an SDK, basically, is it? So build is going to be really big.
Yeah, build this year is going to be huge.
I can't wait. And I am really hoping that people will flock to Windows 10 and say, look, this is a great platform. We can develop for, Xbox. We can develop for mobile. We can develop for desktop. It would be great for, I'm just thinking about us. One Twit app to rule them all would be very good for us. And I can't think we're alone in that regard.
It's a great story to tell. And what I think is most interesting about Windows 10, a lot of people talk about like, well, how are you going to put desktop apps on the phone and da-da-da. Windows 10 for me isn't so much about the desktop. Actually, I think the fact that Windows 10 runs on desktop is almost just sort of like a legacy feature. I think Microsoft's aware that the desktop PC as we know it is slowly becoming, well, it's actually rapidly, I would say, becoming less important to our daily lives. It's all about tablets, IoT, phones, Xbox, things like this. And the fact that Windows 10 can run so well on those devices, I think is the real story. It can run on desktop, but that's like easy now because desktop, you have so much horsepower. If you can get Windows 10 to run in a HoloLens headset or on your smartphone, like it can run anywhere. And so that's like actually a big story. It's more about that where Windows is going in the future. They're building it so when the desktop PC isn't, a big deal anymore, and it kind of is now, you can still put it everywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I had a little salad on my shirt. I think you just made a very interesting statement. Windows desktop is for legacy.
Yeah.
I can't completely disagree with you. I've been saying that
Yeah. I kind of disagree with
PCs are dead, but
well, for enterprise and a certain
enterprise.
segment of the market,
Right.
yeah, it's absolutely that will be there for a long time. There's no doubt, and that's why it's important that they keep building for that. But the consumer story is all about it going mobile, and the fact that Windows 10 can do that, I think, is the future proofing that they're looking for.
Well, the part about Windows 10 to me that's interesting is they're also making it a really good operating system for desktops.
Yeah.
Right. So even though that is, mobile is the future, blah, 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 blah. It just sounded like Steve Ballmer when I just said that.
You sound so dismissive. This phone thing will never happen.
Yeah, right.
Never work.
But, I think the good part is they have come around to realize like, hey, you know what? There's still a lot of people using desktops with mice and keyboards, and we're going to make Windows 10 good for them too.
Yeah. I want it all. I don't want to give up anything. I want it all.
I'm excited about the pen story that's going on because I have new.
Yeah.
So I have the new. What is it? The
Really?
HP Encore 2 Write, which is the new tablet that was announced at CES, and it uses a new Wacom pen that they developed and everything. And for me, we're almost there at the point where I actually do like using a digital pen now as an entry.
You don't handwrite things. You mean instead of a mouse?
I'm saying for like tablets and like the Surface, and smaller 8-inch tablets. Like the Write 2 by HP, I think, is like a really nice note-taking device. It's not 100% yet, and like Lenovo is doing cool stuff with this now, with their new app called Write It, which lets you in any text entry field directly write into the text box. So now Windows 10 and Windows 8, it like pops up a handwriting recognition thing. It's a little bit clunky.
If anything's legacy, handwriting is legacy, right?
But for tablets, it's this problem. One reason I don't use tablets a lot is because they're great for consuming, but as soon as you want to like respond to an email, they become so inefficient.
Dictate.
Well, dictate that's a good option, but you don't always have that, if you're on the subway or a noisy environment, or you just don't want people to hear what you're emailing back to someone. For privacy concerns, that's not always suitable. But
Techno Squid in our chat room is reminding us that when Ballmer was asked by Charlie Rose why Apple and Google got it and Microsoft didn't, it's because Microsoft was obsessed with the pen and didn't understand that the finger made sense. But, you might not be wrong, Daniel, because there's a lot of evidence that Apple's about to do a 12.9-inch iPad with a pen.
And there's that rumor that Microsoft bought Entrig in Israel, right? The company that makes the pen. For
so
the Surface
fingers
Pro.
are legacy.
Yep.
Yeah, people like the pointing. It's about the technology. If you get the technology right, this stuff makes sense. Up until now, you would have these little thin stylies, for a PDA, and it would actually hurt your hand after a little while writing it. But now they're actually making these quality pen devices, and it's starting to come together. Like I said, it's not 100% there yet, but it's like 90%. I feel like within the next 2 years, this technology will be really nailed down. I'm excited about like Surface 4, whatever that is.
What's funny is I use a Note 4. I love the Note 4, but I never use the pen. I have never taken, but this, I guess it's kind of, my handwriting is so bad.
Same, yeah.
So what?
And
what are you going to
draw.
do with that? They show, you know, on the TV ads, they go, watch this, and the perfect handwriting converts into... I never see that happen.
But it's also not about handwriting. It's about the ability to draw and convey ideas, right?
It is,
Some people, a lot of people like diagramming,
I'm not
annotating.
a visual person, so maybe that's...
Yeah. It's yet another input choice, right? Like we always talk about touch and mouse and keyboard, and then you add pen. So you just give people another choice.
I'll tell you, that is true with this 7-inch tablet I just got. I really want to use a stylus because I can't. My finger is it's like trying to type with a sausage. It's not.
I was just surprised Daniel said he liked the pen. I mean, I hear from a lot of my
Surface.
Yeah, on the Surface. Yeah.
I don't use it there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I up till fairly recently took a lot of notes on paper, but now I'm typing more of my notes into Notepad. But I just never really got into the idea of using a pen on my computer.
I just like it on like the smaller tablets because as I'm sitting there on the couch and like I can now respond to stuff, and the handwriting recognition is getting good, and the feel of it it's clicking with me. I don't want, even on the Surface Pro 3, surprisingly, I rarely use the pen, but on certain devices I think it actually does really make sense. Obviously, you're not going to use that on a giant PC or even a laptop, but I think for category devices,
you know, on that new Surface Hub that Microsoft showed, that big video conferencing system that's built on the Perceptive Pixel technology, they have enabled that to work with multiple pens.
Yep.
So they think pen even on the giant screen.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I think up to 3 people can draw on this at the same time. Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
I do think that touch is important. I mean, in fact, I even like when I bought the Dell, I got the touch screen. I'm seeing howls now about Dell battery life on the Dell 13, the new XPS.
Yeah, we can get to that if you want, because I got 2 of them. So
I love it. It's my favorite laptop of all time.
Okay, so first, let's say what the promise was. What was the promise?
Well, that was cuckoo.
It's always crazy,
15
right?
hours, right? They said 15 hours of battery life.
15 hours of battery life.
I'm getting 5 or 6 on the touch.
For the non-touch one?
Yeah.
The touch was 11 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting half that. And you know, it's funny, in the old days we would always say, "Oh, just take the manufacturer estimate and divide it in half. That's what you're likely to get." And an estimate is very hard to prove because everybody uses it differently. Lately, manufacturers have actually been more, I think, more conservative in their estimates. Apple, for instance, usually is pretty close. But I never, you know, I wouldn't. I'm getting 5 hours, 6 hours on a touch. That's about half what they promised. That's exactly what I'd expect. What about you? What are you getting on your non-touch?
So the non-touch, when we covered the Microsoft event a couple of weeks ago, I used the XPS 13 Core i5 non-touch version. And I was basically stress testing it, and it was coincidentally enough, I actually forgot the AC plug when we went to this event, which was miles away, like from my hotel. So there's no way of getting it. And what made this daunting was the fact that we didn't know how long this was going to be when we showed up. There were rumors, but it turned out it ran about 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's very long, actually, for a press conference. When you're live blogging that, along with Wi-Fi, I was using a Bluetooth mouse. I was using Adobe Lightroom with a DSLR camera tethered to my
you should kill that thing.
Yeah, and so I was actually really nervous about this, but I dimmed down on the Dell, you can dim down the screen to about 20, 30%, and I still find it
totally
more than adequate.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I did that, and I ended up putting it into the power saver mode under the battery. And at the end of the almost 2.5 hours, I had 74% battery life left.
That to me is fine.
That was insane.
I would love 15, but I don't expect that.
Yeah.
No.
For what I was doing,
you know what?
You know.
Why are the vendors allowed to lie, though?
They shouldn't. Well, because it's not a lie. Because it's so dependent on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, but they should, you know what, and I think good vendors, I thought Dell was good. I think a good vendor, and Apple, I'm going to use Apple as the paragon here. They do the best they really hit it pretty, when they said the MacBook Air 13-inch would get, I think they said 13 hours battery life. It does. I mean, maybe it's 11 when I really use it hard. But don't consumers know that these your YMMV, your mileage may vary? Don't they know that?
I guess they know, but when a vendor makes such a big deal out of the battery life, like Dell was like, you know what, this is the one that's going to be the alternative to MacBook, and it's not.
It's because it's the Broadwell chip, and the only promise of the Broadwell chip, I mean, it's only slightly faster than the Haswell's. The promise is better battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely do. I mean, I have the XPS 13 older edition that came out last year. And so I can directly compare them. And, you know, the new Broadwells are better in every which way. They're quieter. Well, they run cooler, so it's a quieter device. They definitely get better battery life. I easily notice 2 to 3 hours more battery life with these devices. And they are faster, do video better. So for me, it's actually a significant upgrade. But, yeah, they're still not quite there. But when you look at the Dell XPS 13, even the resolution on the non-touch is still higher than, you know, one of the reasons why the MacBook Air gets so good battery life is the display is actually resolution. Terrible.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm always blown away when I see a MacBook Air, how bad, you know, by today's standards.
And I expected to lose battery life when I said, oh, I'm going to get the QHD Touch.
And that's exactly what kills it. It's the display, the QHD Plus with touch. Now, the display they're using in there is one of the better, more power-efficient displays on the market today, but there's still that trade-off, you know. So I tell people, you know, if you really want, I have the Core i7 version with the QHD, which is the top of the line thing.
What do you get for that on that one?
Yeah, you get about 6-7 hours out of it.
Okay, that's good.
You know, I think it's more than adequate for how powerful that thing is. It's pretty ridiculous. But I would actually tell people the Core i5 non-touch, if you're really concerned about battery life, I use it and I have no problems with it.
And you're getting what 11 hours, 12 hours?
I could easily get, I would say real world pushing it, you know, 9-10 hours easy.
I think it's reasonable for consumers to say, Dell, you need to be more honest. There is no standard, is there, for battery life? There's no EPA test.
Right.
Plus, you know, it depends which browsers you run, and there's so many variables. I know, but I guess I just really had my hopes up on this one because battery for me matters a lot.
It's better. It's better. So that's what to me, it's always relative. Is this going to be 30% better than the last year's Dell XPS? It is. And then, but that's depending on your use, right?
Right.
So. I'm confident I could definitely say you'll get easily 2, 3, 4 more hours battery out of this one than the last year's model. And for me, that's huge. I mean, that makes a big difference. I think after 8 hours, you start to get diminishing returns on far as, you know, because I don't know many people that are going to be 8 hours without AC just doing pure work, you know. I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but then this comes to the trade-off. Do you want that better display with HD, full HD, or even quad HD, or do you want low, you know?
I actually just wanted touch. I didn't want QHD.
Yeah.
I wanted touch.
I wish they would have the full HD touch version.
That's what I would have bought, and that would give you kind of a nice comp. Are you considering one, Mary Jo? Is that?
No, but I'm always just kind of keeping my ear out for a better battery life machine because I'm still using the Acer S7, which I like, but I'm getting like 5 hours. And, you know, that sounds like a lot, but the main thing I don't want to have to do is carry the power cord because the power cord on that thing is so unwieldy. It's just like really a weird shape and it's heavy. So I'm always kind of listening for that.
I was going to say that the power plug for the Dell is actually really interesting. I should just do a little story on that because, one, it's very small, but it's cool. They did this thing where, you know how you always have like the brick for the, and then it's like 2 wires that come off, right? One to the wall, one to the PC. You can actually take the one off from the wall, and there's an adapter you just put in, and the prongs are directly in the brick now, and it folds out. And so it significantly shrinks the size of it, both for the cord wraparound and the weight of it. And it actually was a cool innovation. Sure, you get a shorter plug now, but if you're on an airplane or in a cafe, it's actually more than enough.
You've never used a Mac, have you, Daniel?
No, I know.
Apple's been doing this for 10 years. I don't know, a long time.
Yeah.
You get both. You get a longer cord if you need more distance, and then you could snap that off, and you could put just a plug on the brick and plug the brick into the wall. I do like that. I agree with you. I think this is, I'm pretty happy with the XPS 13, and what I'm hoping is that Apple with its MacBook Air will duplicate this design, because 13-inch screen and an 11-inch size laptop at 2.6 pounds, that's very desirable. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. By the way, that's why you should read reviews on Windows Central before you buy a laptop.
It's true.
Right? So that you know what the actual battery life is. And maybe Dell, you could maybe try to be a little more real world. Just a little more real world, Dell. Our show today brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? If you have to do the hiring in your company, you know that sometimes that's a little kind of hard job, all those emails and phone calls. And you really, while you're in the process, can't expect to get much else done unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is great because it lets you post to 50-plus job boards with one click of the mouse, including social networks like Twitter and Facebook. So you're going to be able to find the perfect hire anywhere in the country, in any kind of position, as easy as possible. All the submissions, all the applications roll into ZipRecruiter's interface, which is very easy. So you can post once, watch your candidates roll in. You can quickly rank them, rate them, and hire without any phone calls or emails. ZipRecruiter will make a careers page that'll match your websites. And with ZipRecruiter's premium traffic boost, you're going to get up to 3 times more candidates. You're going to see a lot more response. Quickly, fast, easily hire that right person. No wonder ZipRecruiter's been used by over 200,000 businesses. Right now, our listeners could try ZipRecruiter free, plus get 30% off your first traffic boost by going to ZipRecruiter.com/Windows. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Windows. And we thank them so much for their support of Windows Weekly. We've used them, and it really is easy and great, and there is 100% satisfaction guaranteed. ZipRecruiter.com/Windows. Paul Thurrott is in Puerto Rico, lucky fella. But that's okay, because we've got Daniel Rubino. What's your title at Windows Central? Editor-in-Chief?
Editor-in-Chief.
Big boss?
The big boss.
Head honcho?
Yeah.
Mary Jo Foley, she's in charge at allaboutmicrosoft.com. And together, well, as you can see, we pretty much can cover the Windows waterfront. Who wants to kick things off today? Usually Paul starts this with his tip of the week. You want to do that, Daniel?
Sure. The tip of this week is for the Windows 10 preview for phones. And so one of the big things, we talked about this earlier with Windows 10, is the ability to provide feedback to Microsoft. They're really, really interested in this core aspect. And on Windows 10, you can do this by, at least on the phone, by holding down the volume down button and power button at the same time. When you do that, what's going to do is it'll screenshot what you're doing, and then it opens up the feedback app, and it lets you basically write directly to Microsoft and tell them either a problem you're experiencing or something you think that's wrong or that you would like to see. And since they value this information so much, I think they make it really easy to sort of give them feedback. You can also launch the app separately. So you can also just pin it to your start screen to launch it. You can see what other people are reporting and what's getting voted and, this kind of thing. But this is a direct way where you can actually screenshot and submit it to them. Windows 10 also has a similar, on the desktop, has a similar feature where you can, in the web browser, sometimes you can actually screenshot. But I just think it's a great tool. When people are running this preview, a lot of people love complaining on Twitter and comments, but the best way to make this OS better is actually to give the feedback right to Microsoft. And so, I really want to encourage people to do that.
So it's the power key and the volume down button at the same time. Yeah. It does a screenshot. Oh, yeah. Cool.
And it'll take a second, and then it actually will launch the
it's on Android phones, and I think iPhone's starting to do this too. If you shake it really vigorously, like, gosh darn it, it crashed again, it'll do that. I think that's a nice, maybe, but the negative on that is it happens a lot by accident.
Sure.
I see you're shaking the phone. Are you upset? Software pick of the week, Daniel Rubino.
So this one actually came out about a week or two ago. It was the Weather Channel they redid it for Windows and Windows Phone. And I happen to really like the new design. But more importantly, this is a perfect example of universal apps for Windows. So this is like the ideal division of what Microsoft's talking about. When you download this app on, say, your phone, and then you put your location in or whatever. If you go and download it on the PC or your Surface, it has a roaming profile, and so it'll pull in those locations without you even touching it. There's no logging in or anything like that. And it's a very similar app experience. Obviously, the layout's different for the Surface or a PC than the phone, but all the UI elements are exactly the same. And the fluidity of the app and how fast it is exactly what the Windows 10 apps are going to feel like. And so I think it's a really good, it's a well-designed app, but it's also sort of the future of what Microsoft is trying to do. And, I think apps like this and Tweetium for Twitter are just really good examples of how developers can code once and basically write everywhere.
Oh, it's exciting. Very good news. I have a Roman profile as well. I don't know about you, but
I got one of those as well.
That's a bad joke. I thought you did, yeah. Enterprise pick of the week from Mary Jo Foley.
The enterprise pick, because I haven't said it lately, is involving Hadoop.
Hey!
Hadoop. And today, Microsoft made their Hadoop on Azure service, which is called HD Insight, available for Linux users. So up until now, you've been able to use it on Windows Server running in a virtual machine on Azure. But as of today, there's a preview version of HD Insight that can run on Ubuntu Linux in a VM on Azure, which is kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, actually, Microsoft put out a statistic. I think I've seen them cite this somewhere before. They said, we already support Linux VMs on Azure, and 1 out of 5 of our customer virtual machines that are deployed on Azure are actually running Linux. So they already have a pretty good Linux base, and this is going to let them take the power of Hadoop and apply it in clusters, Linux clusters on Azure. So it's very, very interesting. They decided to go with making this available on Linux as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is the year of Linux.
Well, Microsoft owns Linux, so that's why.
Yeah.
Because they own it.
Yeah.
By the way, somebody in the chat room said, no, Daniel, it's volume up. It isn't volume up. If you do power plus volume up, you do a screenshot only.
Right. Exactly.
Power plus volume down, you do a screenshot and then launch the reporting app. So I checked.
I'm not making it up. Microsoft said it themselves.
He's not making this up, folks.
Yeah.
He's a trained professional. Code name of the week?
Codename of the week is Passau, which we've had as a codename pick before. Passau was the original codename for Microsoft's Azure Machine Learning Service, also known as Azure ML. The reason it's the codename pick again this week, it's been a while since I made it the codename pick, but today, February 18th, Microsoft made Azure ML, its machine learning service, generally available. So if you're somebody who wants to harness the power of big data and use some of this data that you're collecting to do things like predictive analytics and those kinds of services, you can now buy Azure Machine Learning Service and run it right in your cloud.
And that's like artificial intelligence kind of sort of thing? Kind
of, yeah. It's such a loaded term. Machine learning is a loaded term, and AI is definitely a loaded term. But it lets you do things like the example they cite often is if you're an elevator company and you want to estimate when you should repair your elevator before it fails.
Nice thought.
You would use something like a machine learning capability to do predictive analytics so that you can service things before they break.
All right. I just bought a jar of Japanese matcha. Do you like matcha?
Oh, nice.
You seem like a matcha lover.
Mm-hmm. I love green tea.
Yeah, so the matcha is ground up green tea leaves
like
that
powder.
Then you whisk it. That's part of the tea ceremony. You whisk it in, so you get not the brewed tea because you're actually drinking the leaves, but it's powdered finely enough. And there's all different kinds of. So I've been putting in everything, but it's expensive. It's like
it is. Yep.
It was like $25 for a few ounces. Mm-hmm. That's like cocaine prices now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, it's not. Not that I would know anything about that, but the only reason I mention that is because your beer pick of the week has green tea in it.
Yes. Ooh. What better way to kind of balance out beer and health than drinking a green tea beer.
Get some antioxidants in your tea. I mean, your beer.
Exactly. So the pick is from Stone Brewing in California, and they have something they call the Japanese Green Tea IPA. It's 10.1%. It is not a light beer, even though it's an IPA.
It's not sessionable.
Not sessionable.
But drink more because it's good for you.
It tastes really good. You can taste that little hint of green tea at the end. It's a little flowery, like green tea.
I love green tea. I love it.
Yep. It's not a beer when you drink it and you say, wow, it tastes like a cup of tea. Not like that, but there's just the influence of tea that makes it very nice.
Huh. It's a Japanese green tea IPA from Stone Brewing Company.
Yes.
And with that, we're going to beat a path to rattle and hum and conclude this edition of Windows Weekly. Daniel, thank you so much for filling in for Paul, who was playing hooky in a warm time. Yeah. Everybody should absolutely go to windowscentral.com and follow Daniel on Twitter at Daniel_Rubino, R-U-B-I-N-O, and you will keep up on all of this stuff. It's a great site. So you were only Windows Phone before, and now you're everything. Is that really what happened, or?
Yeah, it was a combination of basically if you owned a Windows Phone, you're very likely to own a Surface or Windows. Right. And so we started expanding naturally, especially with Xbox. But then it coincidentally went with Microsoft unifying their operating system. So
makes sense.
That is exactly. So you can't talk about one without the other anymore.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am very tempted to put Windows 10 on my XPS 13.
It does run pretty well on laptops.
This close. I'm this close. Mostly because I just hate Windows 8.1.
It's better than Windows 8.
It is much better than Windows 8. I'll grant you that. That's not saying a whole heck of a lot. And I like 10. I've been running it in a virtual machine, and actually I like it a lot. So you
get Cortana. So
I know. I love the Cortana.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's reliable. It doesn't seem. I mean, it seems like it's almost production ready. I know it's very early, but
my phone's just awoke when I said Cortana.
Cortana, yes, Daniel. I've been waiting for you to call me. Hello.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hi, Daniel. I want her. Mary Jo Foley, all about Microsoft.com. That's the place to go for all your Microsoft coverage. We got the best team, I'll tell you. We got a deep bench. Thank you, Daniel. Now, is Paul going to be back next week? Or he's probably still going to be. Is he?
He'll be back.
1 week he goes?
Yeah.
I'd move.
School vacation.
Oh, school. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'd move there. I love Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I like it too. I've been there before.
It's a great place to go. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Mary Jo. Thank you all for watching. We do this show 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC every Wednesday on twit.tv. You can watch live or get on-demand versions after the fact at twit.tv/WW or subscribe in the Zune Marketplace. Oh, I'm sorry, Xbox Marketplace or wherever it is you get your podcasts. We do have an excellent Windows Phone, a couple of excellent Windows Phone apps, thanks to our independent developers, Dimitri Lealin. Dimitri, you want to go to build, maybe make a universal app, maybe just thinking. I'm just thinking. Also on iOS and Android and anywhere Roku and anywhere you get your podcasts. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye.